Welcome back everyone to this week's session, how to burn sugar to make browning without oil. Now if you grew up in the Caribbean, you would be accustomed to pilau or brown rice or even chicken stew, pork stew. All of these things need sugar to make the browning that will create these awesome tasting meals. Now browning sugar, it's an art. I'm going to say it's an art because growing up, I had many instances where I overburned my sugar and had to throw away the result. And what really inspired me to do today's session is when I was talking to my sister. She said that her daughter, which is my niece, she doesn't burn sugar very well, and several other people asked me to do a session on how to burn sugar because they could never get it right. Now I have had my issues. Don't think I'm perfect. I grew up with burning sugar to the point that I got bitter tasting meals. The sugar was underburnt, overburnt, never burnt. So I had my days, but over the years I have been able to perfect the art of burning my sugar in order to make browning for my stews. Now let me show you the main ingredient, or the only ingredient, which is brown sugar. Now I used to use oil, but one day, just quite by accident, when I did not have oil, I decided to use sugar on its own, and since that day, I've never used oil since then. You get pretty much the same result. The other secret to having the best burnt sugar result ever is in the pot. Now you don't need just any pot, you need a heavy set, one of those cast iron pots. Now they're not the most attractive looking, and that's okay because of the type of work that they usually do. Now the heavier the pot, the better. Don't even think about getting one of those thin stainless steel pans, guys. Your sugar is just going to burn from here till God comes, right? So a heavy pot is absolutely necessary. Now take a look at the video. Since I have shared the secret with my niece as to how to perfect the art of browning the sugar, burning the sugar to make the browning, hear this, she has never burnt her sugar, overburnt it I should say, since then. So if you have, I know you might be embarrassed to say it, but hey, let's be candid with each other, right? I'm always candid with you. The least you could do is to be honest with me, right? Share in the comments down below. Have you ever in your lifetime burnt sugar to the point that you had to throw it away? Right? In the meantime, while you type that comment down below, take a look at the video and see what I want to share with you this evening. And if you like the video, you like the content, feel free to share it with your friends and family who may be having issues with perfecting the art of browning or burning their sugar to make browning without oil. Enjoy! Now it's the start of not only the rainy season but the hurricane season here in the Caribbean. So if you're a pluviophile like me, then the sound of the rainfall on the outside is like music to your ears. And if you just want to bypass this video and choose to go to the supermarket to purchase your browning, then you feel free to do so. But for those of you who want to stay on, here is how we start the process. You first identify the meat or the beans or peas that you want to stew and get right into the process of how to burn sugar to make browning without the use of oil. Now using fireside to make your meal will be the best choice, but for today we're going to be using our kitchen stove top. I was at my dad's over the weekend and I decided to do this video. So first you put on your pot, rinse it out first and allow the heat to dry up the excess water. Then you add about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar to the heated pot and leave it to melt. I usually use a medium heat to achieve the melting stage. Remember, at this stage, leave the sugar alone. Do not touch it, do not stir it, leave it to melt. And when it's 99% melted, just gently stir it with your spoon until everything has totally melted. Keep on stirring gently until it's completely melted and it achieves a nice caramel color. This is the stage where you would not allow any distractions, because anytime you take your eyes away from this process, guess what? Your sugar will burn too much and you'll have to end up throwing it out. You'll also notice an increase in the smoke. I've had many smoky kitchens during my time of burning sugar, but that's okay. It's totally natural. You're looking for a caramel color to the sugar, as well as when the sugar starts bubbling, that's an indicator that it's ready to accept the meat or the peas for the dish that you're making. Don't get wary with the amount of stirring. The stirring is necessary to prevent the sugar from overburning. Once you see the sugar starts getting too black, then know that you've gone way past the process. It ought to be a nice caramel shade. Then you add the meat or the peas to the pot, and that's when you continue stirring to coat the meat or the peas with the browning so that it has a nice even brown color. Now, if you're making browning that you saw earlier in the video, then you just simply add water to this caramelize the process that you saw earlier. But if you're using your browning right away, then this is when you would add your meat or peas or beans to the pot. By the way, if you would love to see a video on how to make browning, just send us a comment down below and we would definitely get on to that request. Yes, stir that pot very well to ensure that everything gets coated really nicely. At this stage, you can add some hot water, not cold, hot water to the pot to help it to generate some sauce. But I love to add a sauce from the seasoning of the meat. That way the flavors from the seasoning will get into the meat even further and add more flavor to my pot. By the way, guys, have you noticed that I love to fiddle with my food while cooking? Let me also add that learning this process is necessary if you love stews the Caribbean way. Also, when making traditional black cake and fruit cake here in the Caribbean, you will also need to learn this skill. So it's always something that even if you don't know how to do now, it's something that you should perfect, a skill that you should perfect, because it may come in handy later on in your life. If you've noticed that it is taking me very long to add a whole heap of water to the pot, that way we ensure that the browning gets into the meat very well so that it retains its nice golden brown color. Water is added later on in the cooking process when you're trying to generate sauce or probably preparing pilau. That's when you will add your coconut milk or more water. And after the process is complete, this is the end result, a pot of pilau. Doesn't it look lovely? Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment and subscribe. See you next time.